Okay, so today we're going to talk about Rhapsody in Blue. My apologies for the title, it might have ruffled a few feathers. It was all in good fun, and of course there's no one way to play a melody. And that said, many jazz musicians have butchered classical repertoire over the years. So it was all in a bit of fun. However, when I hear a lot of contemporary clarinetists performing this cadenza, I feel like a lot of the expressiveness is lacking. And as performers, I feel like it's very important to understand the history of something to really bring out that depth in our own interpretation of it. So let's talk a little bit about Rhapsody in Blue. Now, the history is quite fascinating. It was written in 1924 by George Gershwin, of course, and the premiere was performed by George, of course, on piano with the Paul Whiteman Orchestra. And the Paul Whiteman Orchestra was a very well-known band at the time. Orchestra at the time did a lot of commercial work. They were a wonderful crossover jazz commercial band, and the clarinet soloist was Ross Gorman. He was the guy performing the cadenza for the premiere. And the story goes, when they were rehearsing, Ross took the liberty of having a little fun with the cadenza and putting the glissando in. And of course, George loved it. Who wouldn't love it? And it became part of the folklore. But I think a really important aspect of that is to really understand that this is not a classical work. This is a melting of jazz and classical. And to interpret that clarinet melody in a purely classical, correct way, it denies the spirit of what the piece is about. And I urge you to go and have a listen to Paul Whiteman's version with Ross on clarinet, hearing the way he interprets it. It's here on YouTube. You can Google it without any trouble. And it's an amazing version, and you can hear the expressiveness in his playing. And there are some specific jazz clarinet techniques that he employs that I urge you to check out in order to really give this cadenza the flavor it deserves. And all of these jazz clarinet techniques are available on my website, jazzclarinetlessons.com. There's the plug, folks. But you can learn all about glissando, flutter tonguing, all of the techniques that he used, that I use in that opening cadenza, which is such a famous part of jazz classical American history.